Hello, welcome back to Steve's Corner. Tesla terrorism. That's what it is, Doc. I don't care what they say. And you know, it's no longer a protest what they do nowadays, man. And I don't mind, had no problem with somebody protesting somebody or boycotting them or whatever. But when you start getting into violent acts like that against somebody, it ain't nothing but straight up terrorism. They want to scare him into quitting. He's cutting jobs and making government more efficient. You know, he's catching the fraud and the waste that's been going on. And it ticks people off because they're cutting the money flows, what he's doing. And I mean, I can't say as I blame him about that. You know, I'd be a little upset if somebody's cutting my money flow too. But they're taking it too far nowadays. And I think they need to be held to a higher standard as far as what constitutes an act of terrorism and versus protest. You know, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, daggone, I think it was up there on the Chicago Miracle Mile, I believe it is, they call it. They were blocking people on Black Friday from going into daggone stores like Macy's and places. And I just can't see how in the world that'd be legal. You know, a little lady friend of mine up the road there, she's always famous for saying, "Hey man, your rights end right where mine begin, and as long as it's a public walkway, you got no reason blocking where I go on that. That's against the law." But they're stuck on people like that because that's what them people want is a confrontation of some kind of way. They can make the news, you know. And so I mean, you know, I personally think they ought to take them people and do just like they did back in the day. You know, them bag on fire hoses and sicking the dogs on them and stuff. You can't stop the flow of traffic in the highway as a protest. That's terroristic activities. You know, you just can't do that. It's not legal, but they let them get away with it all the time. They give them an inch and they took a mile on that stuff. Now they firebombing old Tesla dealerships and scratching Tesla cars all over the place and junk. I don't understand that, why they let them get away with it. It looks like they're trying to do something about it now, and I hope they do. I hope they catch every last one of them and put them under the jail. That's what they deserve. It's a terroristic act against somebody to try to intimidate them and put fear into them, and it's wrong. If you don't like him, hey, I can understand. But you don't threaten a fellow like that. It's not an out-and-out threat, but it's a veiled threat. You know, I don't like it. I don't think it's right. But I mean, you're stuck. I mean, how do you approach it and fix it? So we got some wasps flying around. I was scared that's what it was, but I think it's just a little old spider. You know, and they're not. It's not like they're gonna hurt him. I mean, the dude's loaded. You know, they're not going to hurt him monetarily. They're not going to collapse his business. You know, all they're doing is making it terrible on the people that owns the vehicle. Going by and scratching that car up or breaking a window or whatever. They're making it harder on individuals like us or the people that are making cars. If he does have to cut back on making cars, and that puts somebody out of a job. You know, it's short-sightedness is what it is. And it's a terroristic act. You know, I don't know. I hate the guy's catching hell for what he's doing, but I mean, I don't know the answer to it, man. I just don't, and it bothers me. I don't think twice about the guy myself. I never knew anything about him until now. He's come up and got that Doge job. I've learned more about him, but I got no problem with him. You know. I mean, he had to have the opportunity to make a living just like you and me. But just because he's not doing things the way they think it ought to be done, well, then that's when they do that stuff. I don't know. Oh, back there in, what was it? Floyd. And that Floyd fella got shot. And they put out I mean, they was taking over whole towns, parts of towns and cities, police stations and stuff. And they're just letting them get away with it. You can't do that stuff. It's all against the law. If they ain't got enough jail cells for them, then daggone it, they ought to put up build one on every corner. I don't know. It'd tickle me to death. They got that guy that led that Trump protest up there in the Trump Tower. And he was the leader. He was a foreigner on here on a visa, student visa, a 33-year-old student. And they threatened to take him out of here. And daggone Democrats are fighting to keep him here. Hey man, the government has a right to revoke your visa if you do something like that. And that's a terrorist act. They took over that whole bottom floor like that. It was slowing down or stopping everyday activities of regular people. You know, I don't know. I don't agree with it. None of it. But I ain't got the answers, man. I just tell you what I hate and what I don't like. And I don't like that at all. But anyways, man, y'all take care of yourselves. You're making a great weekend. It's going to be hotter than blazes down here. It's supposed to be up in the 80s. Next week's going to be back down in the 50s and a chance of daggone frost at night. The pollen's gotten heavier and heck around here, and the pine trees ain't even dropped yet. You can still see them big old balls of yellow death hanging up there in the pine trees once they cut loose, man. I was noticing today when I was driving around, I had to go to the dump. It was like it had a haze over the whole area because of that pollen hanging in the air. But y'all take care of yourselves, man. Make it a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all later.